are barefoot.
Especially in the UK. To go barefoot, it would probably be too cold.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we wanted to talk to you about a very interesting topic.
We did indeed.
That topic is 10 Australian norms that wouldn't work in the UK.
Okay, yeah, I like the sound of this. I've seen a couple on the list. I'm very excited to get into them. If you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video if you want to see more videos like this, and I think we get straight into the top 10 countdown.
I think we do as well.
Let's do it.
Just to reiterate to anyone that's new around here, these are just a little bit of fun. They are just an opinion. It doesn't mean that it's the absolute definite answer. There's no answers. Like I said, just a little bit of fun for you to enjoy. So let's get into point number 1, which is that Australians call everyone mate.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, that's a good one, that. But why would that not work in the UK?
Well, it does kind of work in the UK, but it's just not quite as universal. So some people might call their mate mate,
Yeah.
whereas in Australia, I feel like Australians call everybody mate. That could be a police officer, a shop assistant, a friend.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just used differently here. It's a lot more casual. And I feel like for Brits, it's too casual. When you hear, it feels right.
Yeah.
If it was to be used how Aussies use it in the UK, it wouldn't feel right. It's an Aussie thing.
I know what you mean.
You know, it's just one of
Yeah.
those things. It's just an Australian thing that no one else would understand.
Like, I think that a good point on that is I think I went to the doctors a couple of months back, nothing serious. And I just went in for like a regular checkup. I think I'd had an ear infection, went in, and as I sat down, there was a guy doctor who was like, "Come on in," and he was like, "How's it going, mate?" Now, a doctor to say, "How's it going, mate?" Like, it did kind of jar in my brain, like, "Oh, that's a bit weird." Like, so definitely in those formal situations, especially speaking to a police officer, if you was like, "You're right, mate," they might be like, "Are you trying to be funny? Are you trying to be witty? Like, what are you doing?" So yeah, definitely in formal situations, you would never use mate in the UK. So that's a good one to start the list. Point number 2 on the list is one that we've mentioned on the channel before in other countdowns, but that is wearing thongs. But this one is wearing thongs everywhere. People in Australia are more than happy to put their flip-flops in the UK or their thongs on and go absolutely everywhere. You're talking into the RSLs, the pubs, the clubs, everywhere. I've not seen a place where wearing flip-flops is inappropriate. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if we went to an Aussie wedding and people had flip-flops on.
I agree.
Or
I agree. One thing on that point, in the UK, you would never see people without footwear on in the supermarkets, where here, especially where we are.
I think that's a point further down. Barefoot's the next one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can agree. I feel like at weddings, they probably do just wear thongs. I
Probably
reckon
do.
it's a regular thing.
And I don't think anybody would think anything of it.
No.
Yeah.
You can do business meetings in thongs. Like, you've done all your business meetings in thongs.
Yeah, we've gone to do a few photo shoots and meet people, and there hasn't been a situation or a scenario where wearing thongs would be, and that takes me back to, we went out with our friends, and especially in an evening in the UK, if you're trying to get into an establishment or restaurant, you have to make sure that maybe your footwear for certain is of a standard that is appropriate. So when we were going out to one of the pubs, I was like, "Oh, do I not need to make sure that my footwear is okay?" When we were living here a couple months back, and our friend turned around and was like, "You can probably go in barefoot, they won't even care, so it's absolutely fine." So that is a bit jarring, definitely another norm for me and for you to wear footwear that's just accepted everywhere. Not something we do in the UK.
Point number 3 is similar to point number 2, but it's about Australians being barefoot consistently. Not everybody, not everywhere, but on the Sunshine Coast, here, in the shops, cafes, anywhere you tend to go.
Weddings again, I bet.
Maybe weddings. People are barefoot. We've even seen people doing hikes where they should have walking boots on, in theory, doing it barefoot, which is
That was crazy.
Crazy to Brits.
That was
like,
crazy.
when we first saw this, we were like, what about snakes and spiders and bugs and things that are sharp? And
what's the Aussie response? "She'll be right."
She'll be
That was what the guy said.
Yeah.
He was doing a hike up one of the mountains near us, and we were at the top, and he came past us, and I looked at Cody, I tapped her, I was like, "I'm gonna have to say something." I was like, "Are you all right coming up here with no shoes?" And he was like, "She'll be right," and then just carried on his way. Now, I didn't see him come back down, but I hope he was okay afterwards. I can't say for certain, but it is crazy the idea that, especially in the UK, to go barefoot, it would probably be too cold. The floor around the area is not always the best. I'm not saying it's always common to see broken glass or anything like that, but that aside,
yeah,
it is just weird. Like if you were in a shop and somebody was barefoot,
they'd look at you like you were
people would be
crazy.
like, "What on earth is
Yeah.
going on here?" It's like that level up, I would say, from flip flops. If flip flops are weird, barefoot is like mind blowing to Brits. To do that, people would look at you odd.
It's so funny because I feel like we've got used to it. Like, we love it. It's definitely not something that we're saying is an issue for us. But yeah, for Brits, they might just find it weird. Like, I can't wait for Dad to come out in a couple of weeks and for Dad to see people just barefoot. And I hope they get involved and have a go because it's amazing, really. It makes you feel so grounded.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good.
Definitely when you're wandering through a Coles or a Woolies. I feel very grounded wandering through a Woolies, especially through the veg aisle. But, yeah, I did actually catch myself first time probably about 2 weeks ago that I went into an IGA and my thongs were just in the back, so I was like, I'll just go in barefoot. It won't be weird. And it was a bit odd because it's the first time I've ever done it, but like you said, it's a lot easier, and I think that's one of the cool things about an easier pace of life, that it is accepted, especially where we are on the Sunshine Coast. Maybe in your more built-up areas, if you're in Sydney city centre, I'm guessing that you can't go through the business sector.
I wonder though, if people down south like Melbourne and people maybe in the more country towns, do they do it? Or is it just not? Is it just a thing up here?
That's a good question, though.
Let us know in the comments, because I'm interested to know if you go barefoot and where you're from.
Yeah, probably not in the business district. Maybe they do.
Maybe they do.
All the investment bankers with the briefcases but barefoot down the street. I'd love to see that. Point number 4 on the list is barbecues. Now, barbecues are a staple in Australia, but the idea that Aussies have them all year round. All year round. Now, maybe this isn't, once again, the same in the southern climates where it goes a bit like, we're talking your Melbournes, Victorias, Sydney, even Tasmania. These places where it go very cold in the winter. Maybe Aussies aren't as barbecue friendly during those times. Let us know. Might still be. In the UK, this is not the case. You'd be lucky to get 1 or 2 barbecues in the summer months. You fire up the barbecue, you get the family round, you have 1 or 2 summer barbecues, and then that thing is locked away, covered in cobwebs, blown down next summer, brought back out, and then 1 or 2 tries. In theory, if you have a warranty on a barbecue, you've probably only used it like 10 times in 5 years in the UK.
Either that, or what's really popular in the UK in the supermarkets is you can go and get what we call a throwaway barbecue.
I hate these.
Don't know, I think you guys obviously do have them, but how often you use them? Probably not, because there's more of a reason to have a better quality barbecue. But throwaway barbecues are pretty popular in the UK, and you can understand why.
Yeah. I don't know if they are that popular here. Maybe if you're going camping and you're very remote, it would be a good thing to have on you. But, yeah. It's not a real barbecue, is it?
Point number 5 would be Christmas being in 30-degree heat.
Yeah.
This is a crazy one because it's not even possible in the UK, anywhere in the UK, at that time, unless some freak crazy climate change thing happened. That would never happen. So that is quite different. So we recently, last Christmas, just experienced our first Christmas in Australia, and I must say, it was different. We loved it, but it didn't feel like Christmas Day. But something that I wanted to ask you guys is, even though Christmas is related to snow and snowflakes and reindeers and cold and warm food and all that kind of stuff, hot drinks and mulled wine, do you find it weird that it's hot? In certain parts of Australia, not everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, no, everywhere it is in the summer. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting confused. Thinking winter. Oh my gosh, UK brain. No, so it is hot for you everywhere. Is there a place that's cold though? I don't think there is. Maybe there is. But
I'm trying to think now. Maybe altitude-wise.
yeah.
It's probably like some mountain that's cold or some higher altitude cliff.
It's still summer, isn't it?
Yeah,
so I don't think there would be. So hard to do that switch. I hope you guys can understand. But yeah, is it weird for you or is it not? Is it weirder to go and experience the cold at that time of year? Because anyone that's born here You're used to the summer, so you wouldn't really know any different in the sense of it wouldn't feel weird to you.
Point number 6 on the list is outdoor public pools. Now, not saying by any means that they don't exist in the UK. They definitely do exist, but they are not as common. Maybe in seaside towns, and they would only really get people in during, again, like the barbecues, those summer months. For around about 3 months, 3/4 of the year, you're looking at 9 months of the year, nobody is touching that pool. Unless you've got like a dare from friends or you've been forced into it, pushed in. Not many people are jumping in those public pools by the seaside or by the ocean in the UK. A lot of them, there is actually one in a seaside town near where we used to go, St Anne's, and they would actually drain it through those winter months because there's just no point of it being water in there, so they would drain it and then fill it back up at those summer months. So in Australia, when you come here and you see how accessible even beach pools, public pools, inland areas, like I said, just to outdoor pools, definitely more so than anything. Don't get me wrong, there are public pools indoors in the UK where you can go for a swim, but outdoor, no ceiling, go for a dip, doesn't even need to be heated. Very, very peculiar and not really something that does make sense for the UK.
And also, I feel like some of them there's so much funding that goes into them. So for example, we went to Yeppoon on our road trip. If you haven't seen that video, go and check out our road trip from a couple of months back. It was so good, from May time. But we went to Yeppoon, and honestly that was probably the prettiest, most stunning resort-like feeling public pool.
Incredible.
Infinity pool, absolutely outstanding. And I understand that they do this, especially up north, because you can't go in the ocean, but to have those free and accessible for kids and for people to feel safe but cool down, I think it's absolutely fantastic.
It is. It's something that is a massive credit to Australia for doing. And we have actually, like I said, we have been down into New South Wales a little bit, and we do know ocean pools are there as well, where the sea waves crash into them and they're like the kind of cut off section of the sea in a pool. So again, a different style to the ones further up north, but very, very cool that Australia does have them. I love that they've adapted them into the culture. People use them a lot, but it is just not the same in the UK.
No.
Understandable, especially your inner land towns and cities. Nobody would be getting in a pool that's got no top on it during the winter.
Definitely not. And also, we haven't been to Melbourne, Adelaide, that kind of south area. So let us know, do you have them down there? Oh, I don't remember seeing them in Perth. But let us know, if you're from one of those areas, let us know. Point number 7 is how more frequent slang words are used here in Australia compared to the UK. Now, again, I don't know if this is because the Australian approach is just a lot more laid back, relaxed, across the board compared to the UK. Like, you can go into the supermarket and rather than people being quite formal that work there, here they're very casual. They speak to you like a friend. They ask you more questions as well. So when you do pack your shopping, when I first arrived, to start with, the idea that they say, do you want me to pack your shopping for you? No, they don't even ask, do they? They just pack your shopping,
Some
which is crazy.
Yeah.
But then they'll just say like, oh, what are you doing today? You having a good day? And that seems really crazy, because I'm not saying that they don't ask in the UK, but people do just kind of, you're right, and just pack the shopping. They're not as kind
small talk.
Use more slangy, more casual, friendly approach. I don't know.
It seems like in the UK, if you were to speak to somebody at a counter, I don't know whether it is this approach, but it always feels like this. It's that stiff upper lip, like it's a formality to go, how are you today? Yeah, I'm good. You would never then, as a response, as a customer, go, oh, I'm not having a good day at all, because you wouldn't burden somebody with that. But at the same time, I don't think people open up as much.
No.
I went in Coles the other day, and there was a guy on the counter, a young lad, serving away, but instantly you feel like, I know it sounds stupid because you're obviously speaking to a person, but you feel like you're speaking to an actual person.
Like a friend.
Yeah, like a friend, because in the UK it does feel like they are behind the facade of the job. Do you know what I mean? They have to be very, I'm in the job work mode. I'm not, let's just say the name's Paul. I'm not Paul. I am Tesco worker Paul. So do you know what I mean? It isn't, you don't feel always like you're speaking to the direct person, where here, speaking to the young lad on the counter at Coles, he was telling me about his brother. He was saying this, what his plans are for the weekend, just formalities, but like chatting away as a person. And that's the way it should be. I do agree. Like you said, at the end of the day, I know you're there just to pack your shopping, but before I knew it, my bags were packed and he'd been chatting away and I was kind of in the zone talking away, and then boop, and straight out. What a lovely day.
I wonder if Australians that have gone to the UK have also noticed that and noticed how much more kind of reserved people are. I wonder if they feel a bit, "Ooh, okay, let us know. Have you been to the UK? You know, you've been on these trips. Let us know what you kind of felt. Have you been in any scenarios where it feels like that? Or do you feel that it's also quite casual?"
Number 8 on the list is what's happening on the end of the coach. On cue, jump. Picco's a paid actor. It's letting wildlife wander round. If you live in more of the countryside of the UK, you might be a little bit more used to animals wandering around, nature, being around you. But overall in the UK, I think, especially, you see it when Brits come over, animals like the ibis or the bin chickens, the brush turkeys, Brits' minds are blown. Like, I think when they see these big creatures and they're just wandering through or scratching in the dirt, snakes as well, you do see them. We've seen, I think, about 10 snakes living in Australia. Having that up close personal interaction with animals is a lot more common for us so far living in Australia. But in the UK, if you were to have like a hedgehog in your garden or a fox, it's like a
big thing.
That would be talk of the week. I had a fox in my garden the other day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is a bit more like, wow, a shock of like animals being around me. Where here it's like, oh yeah, I had a python in the tree, and they're like, oh well, that doesn't beat the 6 that I've got living in my ceiling upstairs at the moment. But like that's life for Aussies.
In the UK, we would only really see the kind of animals that you see here in the wild in zoos, really. Like deers, you don't really see that often at all. You wouldn't see them wandering around like you do kangaroos.
Yeah.
Hedgehogs, you might spot them in your garden if you live in the countryside, but otherwise you'll only see them when you go on like nature walks, and sometimes they're not always alive. And yeah, there's just not much, is there, really, that you do see compared to the kind of big, like unique. Well, they're unique to us.
Yeah.
I guess they're not to Aussies.
Yeah.
You know, that's the difference. That's why we've made this a point.
It's true. Like I think they say that there's for every one person in Australia is there 3 kangaroos.
Something like that.
I don't even know if there is an animal that's not livestock that is those numbers in the UK. Maybe there are, maybe rats or something like that, you know, but a big animal such as a kangaroo. That's crazy. Does blow my mind.
Talking about kangaroo, the next point is that Australians eat kangaroo meat. This can be really, really interesting in other parts of the world, because in the UK especially, we don't eat kangaroo meat. So, you know, it's unknown, isn't it? So you can find it a little bit unusual. An example would be, my cousin messaged me a few weeks ago, and she was like, I know this is fake, but I've got to check with you. She said, I've heard that Australians eat kangaroo. Is that fake news? Is that fake? That's not true, is it? I was like, yeah, it's true. Like, why wouldn't it be? There's so many of them. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah. And, like, around the world, different foods are eaten by different cultures, different people. They're readily available. Of course, people are going to eat them. It makes sense.
Of course.
And the last point on the list is point number 10, and that is the outside living lifestyle that Australians do partake in. Don't get me wrong, people in the UK do love living outside, but the idea of being able to do it all year round, the vast places that you can go and visit and explore. With the size of Australia, people can travel around in their cars, jump in the trucks. So many people have big utes that they can just get out into the middle of nowhere, no worries about any kind of nature. They're in a big monster of a vehicle that wouldn't squeeze through half of the small villages in the UK. So very different in the size of the vehicle and their ability to go and explore, live outside. Even down to the gardens, people having pools more regular in the gardens, having outdoor sections of the garden where they can just go and sit under maybe a bit of a canopy. But you know, it's things like this that just aren't really done as much in the UK, I would say. But that's just part of the culture and also the weather.
So that has been our noticeable 10 Australian norms that are not that normal in the UK. So we hope that you've enjoyed this, and we would love to hear more from you, and definitely our Australian audience, because there's like 95% of you are Australian. So we want to know, when you've been to other countries such as the UK, what have you experienced? Have you experienced anything similar to what we've said, but maybe the opposite? Comment below, because we would love to know. And if you have enjoyed this video, be sure to show your support by liking this video. It really does mean the world, and making sure that you are subscribed. Apologies that this is a sit down at home late filming video. We have been extremely under the weather. There's quite a lot of bugs going around here at the moment on the coast, and we've picked something up, so we've not been feeling our best. So sorry it's a short one.
Still got a video done. People have probably been looking at us going, are they okay? They look really like dejected today. I don't even know if that's a word, but we're cracking on and we're doing our best. So hope you guys have enjoyed.
And we just want to say thank you to our members. We love you guys. Really, really do appreciate the support as always. If you do want to support the membership program, the link will be in the description below and you'll be able to follow it and support the Buy Us a Coffee program. We look forward to seeing you in the next one. So, bye bye.
Adios.
See you later.
Cody, you're going to have to get this one.